0.2. That was the percentage chance the Detroit Tigers had of reaching the postseason as of August 11th. A record 8 games under 500, putting Detroit 10 games out of the third wildcard slot. Fast forward to today, and it almost doesn't seem possible that the Tigers will be in the playoffs for the first time in a decade. How did the team that had become a laughingstock within Major League Baseball defy all odds, completely impossible, and make their way back into the postseason? Well, they've came a long way since the days of Miguel Cabrera and Justin Verlander, albeit no World Series trophy to show for it. 4 consecutive AL Central crowns, alongside a pennant victory in 2012, highlighted the team's early decade dominance. But of course, as we know in sports, all good things must come to an end. Players like Max Scherzer moved on in free agency, and the Tigers would begin a teardown, a litany of trades, shipping out key players such as Rick Porcello, David Price, in an effort to retool the franchise, but it never quite worked, culminating in 2017, where they'd notably trade Justin Verlander and JD Martinez at that year's trade deadline. From there it got dark. 2019, the Tigers lost 114 games. But there was a vision. They were quickly acquiring assets and building one of the most prestigious farm systems within the game of baseball. To those who have been paying attention, the Tigers have been on the come-up. They just weren't quite there. Not until 2024. Detroit would start the season 5-0. Throughout the first couple months of the season, the Tigers were playing about .500 ball. However, the next 2 months would be a bit of a nightmare. Just about any preseason or earlier hype for the Tigers was dead, as it looked like this season was yet another rebuilding one. Another year without playoff baseball in Detroit. However, it wasn't any fault of the pitching. Tarik Skubal, a name big baseball fans were well familiar with. A popular dark horse Cy Young pick, but the national media still wasn't quite aware of just how good this kid is. Reese Olson, in his second year, also dazzled early on, putting up all-star type numbers, even if he didn't get the invite. Jack Flaherty, who the Tigers gave a 1-year deal, a trial, to see if he could become the pitcher he once was in St. Louis. Jack was fantastic. He was striking out batters at a career-high rate, and he was also walking batters at a career low rate. In fact, Jack was so good the Tigers shipped him out, trading him to Los Angeles at the deadline. As at the time, the Tigers were 5 games below 500, and any chance of sniffing October baseball looked slim to none. The Tigers would also trade Andrew Chafin, a veteran reliever that had pitched pretty well, an ERA just a shade above 3, as he packed his bags for Texas. So what was the problem? Well, the side of the ball that doesn't pitch. Up until August 11th, the Tigers ranked 25th in WRC+, which is a stat that measures how good an offense is comparison to league average. Now, this was in big part due to injury. Kerry Carpenter, who had a very strong first couple months of the season, was placed on the IL with the stress fracture in his lower back. Parker Meadows would go down with a hamstring injury, and Riley Green, an all-star for the Tigers this year, also landing himself on the injured list with a hamstring injury of his own. Couple that with a dreadful season once again from Javier Baez, and a disappointing third year from Spencer Torkelson, who found himself in AAA amidst his struggles. The Tigers flat out could not hit, and while their pitching was elite, ranking number 5 in rotational ERA, it simply wasn't enough to win ball games. But something changed within the Tigers beginning that 11th of August. At the time, it was merely a victory over the San Francisco Giants. With a healthy Riley Green, a hungry Kerry Carpenter, the Triple Crown front-runner Tarik Skubal, and what we'd soon find out to be the best bullpen in baseball, the Detroit Tigers were ready to turn some heads. And that's exactly what they would do, winning 6 of the next 7 ball games, including a very impressive series win against the Yankees, highlighted by an extra inning game winner off the bat of Parker Meadows. Tigers had found their swing and had a strut in their step. They'd pulverized the Chicago White Sox, scoring 33 runs in that 4-game set, winning back-to-back series against the Angels and Boston Red Sox. All the while, the bullpen is nails, locking out teams and holding leads in the late innings. And by that last win in Boston, you look up September 1st, the Tigers are 2 games above 500, a remarkable step. However, they'd find their postseason odds to not move much, but only at about 10% with just a month to go. But for Detroit, that only fueled them. They had a tough series against the Padres, losing 2 out of 3, but after this 13th inning walk-off from Oakland, it has been all Detroit baseball. To present day, they've been on a gaudy 15-3 run, catapulting themselves from a 0.2% playoff odds a couple weeks into August all the way to clinching wild card berth after this win against Chicago. And it has been a grind. Comeback after comeback. Headstrong start after headstrong start, in stifling opposing offenses when the team needs it most. A bullpen a few months ago that nobody would have thought twice about, led by guys like Tyler Holton, Brennan Hanafy, Will Vest, Jason Foley, Brant Herter, Sean Gunther. That's been the lifeblood of Tiger baseball. The offense has improved. Since August 11th, they ranked 12th in WRC+. But when it comes down to it, it's the guys they call upon in the 7th, in the 8th, and in the 9th. Ironically enough, the complete opposite of about a decade ago when the Tigers couldn't quite get it done. Detroit has been brilliant. As a Twins fan, it pains me to say that, but it is the truth. They are the hottest team in baseball, and heading into the postseason with this kind of momentum, I would not want to face them. Congratulations, Tiger fans. You guys have done the unprecedented, the impossible, and I can't wait to watch you guys in the playoffs.